right. Good afternoon, Jim. Welcome to episode 3 of the Trial Time Podcast. We got a celebrity guest today, former two-time world heavyweight champion, big like a truck, smooth like a caddy. That's why they call him Big Daddy Riddick Bowe.
My man, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
Doing good, champ. How are you?
Man, I'm rolling with the punches, trying to make it do what it do.
Okay. For some of our viewers that may not know who you are, former two-time world heavyweight champ, one of the top boxers of the decade in the 90s. What we do at the Trial Time Podcast, Jim and I are trial lawyers, but we also try to talk about some of the trials people have gone through, some of the battles they've had. I know you had some great battles in the ring, and I'm sure you had a lot of big training camps preparing for those. So good. Tell us about what some of your biggest battles were and what you're up to now. So,
well,
hold on one second. Hey, Jim, turn your mic on.
Is that on?
Yeah, it's on now.
All right. You didn't give him the glory that he needs.
Trust me, I'm gonna give him plenty of glory. But go ahead.
No, you didn't give him enough glory because this guy was the only, if I'm not mistaken, Riddick, correct me, the only boxer that's held the heavyweight division, held all 4 titles at one time.
Yes, sir. You are correct.
That's unbelievable. And the only man ever to knock out Evander Holyfield.
I think you're right about that as well.
He was the only one to knock him out in the prime, but I think Evander got knocked out right before the end.
Later on, he got knocked out again, but I was the first one.
You the first one that ever did that.
I put the African soup bone on him.
Yeah, 45 wins over 19 years, lost 1 match.
But if you look at the matches I lost, there ain't no way I could have lost that match. They had all the things up there saying I didn't want to lose, so that I got robbed that fight.
Well,
when was that, Riddick? When was that one loss?
That one loss was the second fight when Evander Holyfield. That was November.
I remember that.
November 6th.
I remember
1995.
Yes, I remember that.
Now I was going to save this, Jim, but you said I didn't give.
You didn't give him enough credit. This guy held.
I will share my screen just so he can see it and our viewers can see it.
Well, he said big like a truck and smooth like a cat. That's why they call him Big Daddy. He won't write my book there.
Yeah, but look, if you look at the Ring Magazine's annual ratings, here's the 90s. 92, Riddick Bowe. 93, they put Evander over him, but he's still number 2. 94, he was 3rd in the world. 95, he's back on top at number 1.
Right.
I mean, Riddick's definitely got a claim to be the top boxer of that decade.
Oh, without a doubt. How many 19 years as a professional? That's a long career, Riddick.
Yeah, and you remember I didn't take steroids or anything like that.
No, I absolutely. And listen, not only were you the heavyweight champion of the world in every classification of every belt that you held, but you also served our country in the Olympics and the Pan Am Games.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
How was the Olympics? Really? I mean, did you have fun with it, or was it?
Oh, I was fun. It was a dream of mine to go to the Olympics like Muhammad Ali did. Ali was my idol. So I just wanted to do everything he did. But he outdid me by 2 things. He became a gold medalist, and I was a silver medalist. He also won the heavyweight championship 3 times. I only won it 2. That's why he's the greatest.
But hey, 2 times and serving our country in both and 1 medals. That's just remarkable. The career. How did you ever get into boxing, Riddick?
Well, one day a teacher brought on the table about Muhammad Ali. We had to do an accent on Ali. And I look what happened. There was a kid in the school, he was a bully. He said, I like Joe Frazier, but I think I like a fact. I said, man, you must be crazy. You must be talking about your mama. And we began to fight. I just thought when I seen Ali going to do the jab right hand every now and then. And he got expelled. The teacher said, Riddick, you pretty good with your head. When you like me to call the gym, she called the best type gym for me, and I've been boxing ever since.
Well, I think you're from Brooklyn.
Yes, sir.
So you were able to travel a lot, even as a young man. You went over for the juniors.
In Bucharest, Romania,
Right.
The Olympics in Seoul, Korea.
Pan Am Games. So you were
I
out.
was all over. Yeah, I had a ball, man.
So that's something for a young man like you to come up from Brooklyn, get in the fight game, and then travel like you have and seen the things that you've seen through the years.
That's right. I've been to Russia. I've been to Korea, and there's a lot of other countries I forget about, but I had the ball.
What most would you say over your career? What do you regret? That's a tough one, but what would you say if there's one thing? What would you say you regretted doing? Anything?
I think my manager at the time. I'm not saying nothing bad about him, but I think I would have went a different direction and had a guy to be with me till the end. And my manager wasn't like that.
You think you would have changed then if maybe in the past gone to another direction?
Yeah.
Do you think it would have helped?
With him being my manager at the time,
yeah,
my career didn't last as long as I wanted it to.
19 years?
Well, you did have that gap. You got to remember, Jim. He stopped and made a comeback. Did you make two comebacks? Or?
Yeah.
I think I had 2 fights and a comeback, but it just wasn't the same. So that's why I didn't go through with it.
What do you think about boxing now?
Let's say Deontay Wilder.
Huh?
If I wanted to fight Deontay Wilder, I think I would knock him out. I could beat Deontay. Even right now, if I came out of retirement, I think I can move. Nobody goes to his body, and I think he's gotten away with it, so they think he's a great fighter.
No. I want to ask him something, Jim.
Okay, go ahead.
In a recent interview, you said you'd break Tyson Fury's ribs in a fight. You still stand by that?
Absolutely, without question. No one is going to his body, and he's so big and tall, he's getting away with highway robbery.
That is true.
I'll make him pay for that.
Every highlight I see of a Tyson Fury fight, he's slipping somebody's punch when they're throwing it at his head, but nobody attacks his body.
Yeah, so he's getting away. In my era, they punch to the body and they punch to the head. So you had to worry about everything.
Do you really think is boxing today where it was back in the 90s?
There's nowhere close. Remember, you had me, you had Holyfield, Mike Tyson, you had the real big, you had several other different guys, but it wasn't the same. You even had the guy from Italy, Damiani.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Tommy Morrison. George Foreman was making his comeback. Lennox.
Right. So it's not the same. They don't have the same competition. And a lot of guys, they're not training right. They're doing things they're not supposed to do. So he's able to capitalize off of that. So it's not the same.
Well, champ, you look good. I think maybe you need to make another comeback and come back in the sport and try to pick up the heavyweight.
Well, I'll tell you what you do then. I got a problem with that. But I'll tell you what, if you show me the money, I got the time.
Hey, champ, I think you can get the money, and like you said, what a fight would that be with Deontay Wilder? What a fight that would be, you know it?
And it's good, I'm going to tell you why, because his trainer, Mark Brilliant, he and I had the same trainer. So it's like me going against myself.
Yeah.
So I think that would be great.
Aren't you about the same size that he is? Both I'd be very big.
Well, he's a little taller than me. I'm 6'5". He's 6'8" or something like that.
Wow.
But I could take him.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I used to watch you now. Now, Adam is too young to remember you, okay? But I used to watch back in the day. Fighting was something. I mean, boxing was something. You had the stars.
But you got to tell Adam, that's when he used to call me Pretty Daddy.
Now you got to remember too, Jim. Now, in my younger days, I did some amateur boxing.
You did,
and actually, that's how we got in touch with Riddick. Is knew some of the same mutual coaches and boxers, because I believe you've been doing a little bit of training in the Montgomery area lately.
I'm in Montgomery right now, training
Yeah.
and whatnot, trying to get back in shape.
Are you really thinking about coming back, or are you just doing it for exercise?
Well, I ain't got nothing else to do. If I can make a little bit of money by doing it, then why not come back?
Why not?
You know,
Great.
George Foreman did it. Why not? I can do it. Matter of fact, I probably do better than all these guys.
Especially, I mean, if you think about Triller nowadays, there's a lot of older fighters that have retired that are getting paid more money than they made, some of them in some of their prime fights. Is that something you'd be willing to do if you get back in good enough shape?
Absolutely. I don't have nothing else to do. Why not?
Do you think you're still as fast as you used to be?
I'm probably a tad bit slower, but I can still accomplish a lot.
You think the defense is better, maybe?
Say it again.
Defense. Your defense may be better then.
Well,
Lose a little speed, but you can still see. You're wiser. You know what's coming.
Right.
Kind of see.
But I gotta tell you, man, my punching power is still impeccable.
So the power is the last thing to go. That old.
It's still impeccable, man. Yeah.
In fact, George Foreman, if I remember correctly, when he made his comeback, he wasn't quite as fast with movement, so he had to hold his hands high like that.
I think that's called it. That's the Philly shell, or the Philly cross, and he did pretty good with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, it's a remarkable career, remarkable, and I think people don't realize what a great champion you really were. And
you know what? I loved everybody.
I don't ever remember anybody ever saying anything bad about you. Ever.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
I mean, I think that goes to your character. I don't remember any bad public relations, anything bad about you, no drugs, pure workouts, pure preparations, no slouch, no, any of that. I think it was a great career.
I just think so much. I just like to have a fun life, and anything more than that, you can take it to the bank. I like to have fun, but anything bad, I try to get around.
So you're working out right now.
Yes, sir.
How's your your breath? How's your stamina going?
Pretty good. I'm up to 6 rounds now. But you know what I was hoping? You know what I was hoping? You can come and give me a couple of rounds and show me what to do.
Riddick, there's one thing my daddy always told me, okay? Don't break out any boxing gloves when you know the other guy on the other side's worn out about 200 pair of them through his life.
Well, I figure maybe I'm gonna take care of you.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, Riddick. Exactly. Exactly.
You all right. All right.
I tell you what, do you still have your belts?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And I take the silver medal and the medals from the Pan Am game. I take it you have all of that.
I still have everything. Yeah, it's just thank God.
The rings. You ever wear any of that? Yeah,
No, I don't wear them, but I look at them every now and then,
Just to go back and remember.
Yeah, and then I put them back in the closet till the next time.
What was your greatest fight?
The first fight with Evander Holyfield. That was my greatest fight.
All right.
And then,
go ahead, Riddick.
And then it was the third fight because he knocked me down. I had to get up, and I knocked him out. I'm the first guy to knock him out.
That's right.
We have a policy now.
Are y'all friends now?
Oh, we're my best friends, but me and Evander, we have a policy.
Okay.
You know what the policy is?
What's that?
If he keeps my name out of his mouth, I'm gonna keep my foot out of his ass.
Hey, I got a question, champ.
Yes, sir.
Still got it.
And you may have just answered this, but what was your hardest fight?
Evander Holyfield. He was the smartest one. He was very courageous, and you just can't take that away from that. He came, he brought his best, and he came to fight. but it just wasn't his night.
Was that also your hardest training camp?
Well, some guys or some fights I trained, you know, not as hard for Evander, but I would have to say yes, he was the hardest fight. But I'm gonna tell you guys something. If you look at the second fight between us, he didn't win that fight. And no way Stephen Wonder could see he didn't win that fight. If you watch the punches that was thrown, say I threw 84 punches and he threw 11, how could he win? But they gave him the decision, and I want to get that change on my record because that night he did not beat me.
Do you think that had to do with trying to get a rematch between the two of you and that decision, having that third fight?
Well, they took the second fight from me,
right?
Which I was going by unanimous decision, but the third fight I knocked him out. So
right.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Was the second fight the fan man fight?
Yes, sure. So I feel like they set me up from the beginning. They thought that because the fan man came into the ring, the people will forget what really took place.
Yeah.
But that's what happened. They robbed me from that particular fight. So I still should be undefeated.
Yeah. Is there anyone you regret not fighting?
I guess I can only say Mike Tyson. But he kept telling people we were friends. We did go to school together and what have you, from the same neighborhood. But my thing was, listen, Mike, if we're such good friends, let's put that friendship, on the table and put it away for a little while. Let's go get all this money and then we can be friends afterwards, just like him and Holyfield.
What about, I know we talked about some of the other fighters from the 90s. Would you have liked to have fought George Foreman?
Absolutely. George Foreman said on HBO, he would never fight me. Stay away from Riddick Bowe because Riddick Bowe killing everybody. And he knew he knew what the outcome would be. I would do him like he did Joe Frazier.
Yeah. You're probably right on that. I mean, if you look at even some of the other guys that were ranked at that time, you were much bigger than Mike. You were bigger than Big George. You were much bigger than Evander, Michael Moore.
Right.
How do you think Tommy Morrison would have held up?
I love Tommy. I sparred with him in the gym and things but in a real fight, I don't think he could have compared to me. I'd have crushed him. 3 rounds, it would have been done.
Wow. Well, one thing, and I know I hate to bring this up, but I think it's interesting. Did you ever run across Muhammad Ali?
Muhammad Ali is the greatest, and I'm the latest that I ran across him. Man, when I ran across him, man, we had so much fun together. He's my idol, and I got a chance to speak with him and play with him and whatnot. Actually, I was fighting for the New York City Golden Glove. Somebody comes behind me and they say, "Come on, sucker. Come on, sucker." I didn't realize it was Muhammad Ali. I said, "Man, get out my face. Stop playing with me." I guess he just wanted me to turn around. 3 minutes later, what do I hear? The same thing. "Come on, son. I turned around. And it was so, because I was going to hit him at first when I turned around. He gave me this big hug, man. All I could do was cry for 5 minutes, man. I'm about to fight, and here I am, I'm crying. But I went out there and I think I was 24 seconds and did the Muhammad Ali shuffle.
Oh, wow.
And that was phenomenal, man.
Did you do you think you learned from him during this?
Of course,
you
I
did?
watched him. I'm not as how they said, I don't have the agility that he's had, but I was close to it sometimes.
Well, I mean, he's not your size. I mean, he's smaller, and
yes.
And you use your weight and your size to your advantage, just like he was probably what, 6'1", 6'2"?
Yes, sir.
And moved, like he said, like a butterfly. And that's the way he fought. That's what he liked to do. And a lot of people followed his lead,
Absolutely. He floated like a butterfly and he stung like a bee. But I hit like a truck. so he would have went 3. Yeah. Ali was the greatest, man. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I never would have picked up boxing.
Really? He
Yeah.
was that much of an influence in your life.
Absolutely. I was gonna go into the Marine Corps when I finished high school. That was my plan. So the teacher brought a tip about Ali, and once he began to speak, I just fell in love with him. Come on, sucker. Come on, sucker. And listening to him talk all the time, man.
Yeah.
I just said to myself, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And I had 12 brothers and sisters, and what gave me a head start was that I fought them all the time. I'm next to the youngest, so I could be eating dinner one night. My mother made some pork chops, and somebody took it. I had went to get some hot sauce for the pork chop. When I got back, somebody took the pork chop off the plate. So I started asking people around the table, did you eat the pork chop? Who took my pork chop? And I ain't seen nothing Riddick. What does it mean? I don't have nothing to do with it. And finally, I spotted the person who took my pork chop. It was my brother. I asked him, he said, mm-hmm. And I thought, well, why this joke? Now why was this joke ain't talking? So I hit him and pork chop went all over the table. And my mother got mad with us. She put us out, but then 15 minutes later, she tried to come back in. But I never had to worry about him messing with my pork chop.
Ever again, right?
Didn't pay him to mess with a pork chop.
I'll remember that. I'll make sure you get the big pork chop if we ever get together again.
Yeah, because I put the big pork chop on him.
How many brothers? How many brothers did you have?
I got 6 brothers and 7 sisters.
Did any of the brothers ever want to go into fighting? Did they ever want to get into the?
Absolutely not. No. But I had a brother, his name was Henry. I watched him one day fight a guy on the corner. And it was phenomenal. Like, wow, I wish I could be like that. I watched him fight a guy on the corner. And then maybe 3-4 days later, I was on the corner playing basketball. The guy told me to give him the ball. I said, no, man, I ain't giving you my ball. And he hit me.
Oh.
Brother saw that. He walked over to the guy, one shot, right to sleep. Wow, I want to do that one day. And maybe 2-3 weeks later, I picked up boxing.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I've learned a lesson. I learned not to take the basketball from you or give it back.
And I would have been another Dr. J if I'd have kept playing basketball.
Yeah. And you probably would have been a great basketball player back then at your height.
I think so, absolutely. Only 6'5", that's not too big.
And you know what? You could have ended up on the court and you and Charles Barkley could have gone at it.
Charles Barkley? No, he was before me.
He was before you?
Yes, sir.
Because I know he was in the late 80s was when he went to the Olympics with the professional team.
You would have been winding down if you would have been starting at that time, champ.
Yeah.
Y'all would have had a little bit of overlap.
Y'all would have had a little bit. That would have been good to see on a basketball court.
Absolutely, man. Because whatever I chose, I said to myself, I want to be the best at this because I want to make my mama happy. So no matter whatever sport I chose, I was going to be the best.
Did mom ever get to see you fight?
Absolutely. Mom was she was at the fight for Holyfield. I'm Holyfield for the title. That was the greatest night of my life. Wow. When she got into the ring and she was crying, I said, Mama, you ain't got to say nothing. I just gave her a hug. She gave me a hug, and that was it.
Well,
how tall are you?
Do what?
How tall are you?
6'2".
Sure you don't want to get in there and just spar around with a champ?
After what I'm hearing about, there's only 2 licks he's ever, done with the pork chop and the basketball. The answer is no, I do not.
No.
You know why?
I'll come watch him.
He's not as dumb as he looks.
No, I'm not. I'm a lot smarter. I'm a smarter white guy than I actually am. Okay.
I see.
Yeah, Yeah, I still see that physique on you and those arms and that big fist.
But
And
You
no,
call it a fist, I call it an African soup bone.
well, it's good, night to size.
but
You know
I'll
what?
tell you one thing I promise though. I promise the champ could take care of you if y'all spar. Like,
Oh yeah.
he's a good fighter.
Oh, I
Won't hurt
wouldn't
you.
hit him hard. Maybe
I,
hit him with a nice hook, make you a little woo,
I,
shake it off,
I,
you
I,
know.
I'll tell
But
you
if we
what.
got enough money and we make a deal, I go right in his mouth. Oh, I'm sorry, that one got away. I'm sorry. Yeah, that like was an accident.
Riddick, why did this turn on me all of a sudden? Why aren't you knocking out this kid over here that claims he was Golden Gloves boxing wizard or something?
Well,
I
he
mean,
set you up. He set you up. I won the Golden Gloves 4 times in New York City,
Yeah.
4 years in a row.
And that was in New York.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you my proudest moment as far as sparring or anything was I actually got to spar. And I don't know if you've ever met him, champ. Was do you remember Nate Campbell? Was a lightweight champ.
Yeah, I remember. It wasn't. Yeah, I thought it was light heavyweight.
No, he was lightweight. Nate was probably about a light heavyweight by the time he retired, but I believe he was either lightweight or light welterweight champ. Let me look. He was lightweight champ, but I actually got to spar him one time down in Dothan, and that was a highlight for me because just anybody that even boxes amateurs, if you ever have a pro or especially a former world champ come by your gym and offer just to get in a ring and do a round with a lot of different people, it's really a highlight. And I was a lot younger when that happened, but and most true champs like that are giving back. You know, they're not going to go in there and try to knock anybody out. They're just giving some of the young kids some work.
So how old are you now, man?
I'm 32 now.
What happened?
I became an attorney and I got fat and out of shape, man. That's what happens.
Poor thing.
He picked the right. He went the right way. He picked the right
doing pretty
profession.
good for himself.
Yeah, he got out of that.
Actually, I said my age wrong. I'm 34. You see, that's from the
No,
old
you're
boxing.
No, you're
That's
not.
what I'm trying to say. That's why I couldn't believe it, man.
Uh,
You're 34, but you look like you're 54.
you know,
Poor thing.
there was a guy at one of the gyms I used to box at, and Jim, you met him before. He actually did pretty good in the amateur circuit and was pro for a little while. A guy named Michael Coker. Anytime there was a new fighter came in the gym, Mike always used to say something. Right, walk up to him. He's like, see somebody hitting a heavy bag or a speed bag. Mike say the same thing every time if they're new. Hey, you been boxing for a while, man? You been boxing for a while? The guy be like, nah, man, it's my first time. He said, oh, man, you had me fooled because you sure do look ugly. I figured somebody been beating on your face for years.
Boy, you look terrible. I've been beating on you for years.
Well,
I never had that problem. I've been pretty for a long time now.
You have been. It doesn't even look like you've been in the ring.
A couple of times, just a couple of times.
As Muhammad Ali would say, you look pretty.
Yeah, he's pretty. I mean, I'm pretty ready.
Pretty ready.
Pretty ready. Absolutely.
This has been just a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, thank you so
you're
much.
absolutely a great representative of the boxing career and the boxing. You're in the Hall of Fame. You're
yes, sir.
You've done everything there is to do.
I made Mama proud.
You
Mama, she told me, she said, Riddick, listen, if you want to be a boxer, you're going to have to do everything and you're going to have to listen. I was a clown. And she told me I had to listen. I paid attention. And because I listened, I became much better.
Yeah.
So I owe it to my mom.
Well, make sure, if you haven't done it, make sure you take the rings, the belts, the gold medals, the silver medals, the medals, take them over and give them to her. So she can put them up in her house and invite all of her friends to come over and see her son stuff.
Well, I'm gonna have to wait till I get to heaven and give them to her this time.
There you go, because I'm telling you, Mama's.
No, you understand. I'm saying, in order for me to give them to her, I'm gonna have to wait until I get to heaven.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know she'd passed away, Riddick.
Yeah, she passed.
Yeah, my mom.
She was great, man.
She was, I know she was proud of you and everything.
Absolutely, and I was proud of her too because she I mean, everything that I was, I got from her. So,
Well, here's what I've learned in my life, being older and having children. It's not necessarily what you've accomplished; it's the kind of person you've turned out to be. And I think that's what makes mamas happy and proud.
absolutely. And I did all I could to make her happy.
Well, you
I
did.
think when she did bad, she thought about me. She was okay.
Well, just take all those belts and rings and everything and take them to heaven, will you, and give them to her.
Absolutely, 100%. I got
Listen,
you, big guy.
I know
Thanks a lot.
I know you've heard this before, but this has been great. So I'll finish and let Adam say whatever, but keep your hands up and protect yourself at all times.
Yes, sir, Mr. Referee. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, my friend.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Hey, Champ, there's one thing I do want to close with. We have appreciated you here, but it's the Trial Time Podcast. We talk about trials in the courtroom and sometimes trials people face outside the courtroom. Can you share for everybody a trial you went through in your life and how you got through it, so that if anybody needs any kind of motivation, if they're going through their own trial, they got something going on in their life, something that was difficult for you, and how you got through it, Champ?
Well, I wanted to go get my kids. I don't know if you know the story or not,
No.
but I didn't know you couldn't go get your kids. I want to get my kids and my wife, and I wound up doing 1.5 years in jail because of that. But I guess that's the way it goes. But I went to the court and went through the judge and all that. It ain't turned out in my favor, so
what did you do on like a personal level to get past all that? Is there anything you
Well, I
recommend?
talked to the representatives and try to present myself as a person that they didn't think I could be. Like, if they thought I was a bad guy, it would give me more time.
Yeah.
So when I spoke to the judge, yes, sir, no, sir, and then afterwards, I could have got, I think, 10 years. He gave me 1.5 years, so I
just
guess that worked a little bit.
yeah, just even outside of legal though, would it is that something you gotta go through, like prayer, or talking to friends, even family? What would you do to people that are going through their own struggles such as that? What would you recommend?
Well, I would just tell them, keep your head up, pray to God. God, I'm gonna tell you, is great. God is good all the time for me.
Amen.
Without God, I wouldn't be here today.
Amen.
So he always protected me when I fought. Wherever I went, nobody gave me no trouble. And I got to be honest, other than going to jail, I had a great life. I finished high school. I mean, I had a lot of fun too in the process.
Yeah, because
matter of fact, I probably had too much fun because I don't think people should have as much fun as I had. And I had the ball.
hey, you were as world heavyweight champ. You were on top of the world.
Two times.
Two-time, twice. As far as I'm concerned, you're still on top of the world champ. I know we've all gone through our trials, in the courtroom, outside the courtroom. Sometimes people may say, hey, the toughest battle you fought is in the ring, and it could have been outside the ring, but you definitely are a motivation to everyone, because you're sitting there today, you look great, you're doing great. So
can I tell you something that might shock you?
Mm-hmm.
I always been pretty, man.
Awesome. Well, hey, we do appreciate you coming on. If there's anything you want to say before we get off, but I know we'll be in touch with you in the next week or so as well.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks so much. I had a great time with you guys, man. We can do this anytime you guys want, man. You guys have been great, and thanks for picking me.
Okay. Hey,
thank
you for coming on board, champ.
Thanks, champ.
Okay. God bless you.
God bless you
as well.
Get back with it.
Take care.